Christ is risen, and we are celebrating Easter in a way that we possibly have never dreamed of celebrating it before, all alone in our own houses. Well, I looked up a few websites to see what hints there might be to help us capture the energy of what Easter Sunday is all about. And I've concluded that the best thing I can do is just read to you one of the accounts of the resurrection as it's brought to us this year by the Gospel of Matthew. So let's hear again that story. After the Sabbath, as the first day of the week was dawning, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to see the tomb. And suddenly there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord descending from heaven came and rolled back the stone and sat on it. His appearance was like lightning, and his clothing white as snow. For fear of him, the guards shook and became like dead men. But the angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid. I know that you are looking for Jesus who was crucified. He is not here, for he has been raised as he said. Come, see the place where he lay. Then go quickly and tell his disciples, he has been raised from the dead. And indeed he is going ahead of you to Galilee. There you will see him. This is my message for you." So they left the tomb quickly with fear and great joy, and ran to tell his disciples. Suddenly Jesus met them and said, "Greetings." And they came to him, took hold of his feet, and worshipped him. Then Jesus said to them, "Do not be afraid. Go and tell my brothers to go to Galilee. There they will see me." Well, this is an account told by one of the Gospel writers, Matthew, and it has certain features within it that we don't find in the other Gospel writers. This is because they wrote some generations after the event, and they were seeking to reinterpret the meaning of this unique experience of resurrection within the context of the situations that their own communities were facing. Now, Matthew was writing primarily to a Jewish audience, so we find a lot of Jewish symbolism in here, the angels, the emphasis on earthquakes, speaking of apocalyptic events, that is life-changing, world-changing events, much like the coronavirus is an apocalyptic event today. Things will go back to a new kind of a normal, but not the same as they were before. So these were experienced within Jewish and explained in Jewish symbolism as things like earthquakes and dead men rising and walking the streets. And this is often how the Gospel writers try to explain the inexplicable. Who had ever come across resurrection before, even though it was part of their belief system? Here they are experiencing it in the here and now, the reality in the midst of contexts that were world-shaking and world-changing, because the world of international affairs and natural disasters was just the same then as it is now. But we also see something unique here in that the message that is given to the women is to instruct the disciples to go back to the place where they first encountered Jesus as an ordinary teacher coming amongst them and drawing them into a new way of learning, a new way of living, a new way of acting as community. Go back to Galilee. Go back to the place where you first met. So you're not being told to go and do something heroic, but to go back to the ordinary place, go back to the familiar, but see it through the new lens of resurrection, the new lens of what it means to encounter a risen Christ and live with him as an internal guide as it comes about when the day of Pentecost arises. So something to reflect on this Easter as we live in this new normal, whatever that may turn out to be in the days ahead. Christ is risen. He is risen indeed.